Are you hiring a pharmacist in Michigan or ensuring your own credentials are in order? In this explainer, unlock the essential steps to verify a pharmacist's license and ensure you're protected from legal pitfalls and professional discrepancies. We're going to cover everything you need to know because, at the end of the day, this is all about safeguarding your practice, your business, and most importantly, patient safety.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering an intro to pharmacist licensing, the step-by-step verification process, how to interpret results and avoid pitfalls, pharmacy facility compliance, how to dodge verification scams, and finally, a brief conclusion and legal disclaimer. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. Intro to Pharmacist Licensing. Understanding the Regulatory Architecture.
To kick things off, we really need to understand exactly who holds the reins over pharmacy practice, drug distribution, and compounding facilities in the state of Michigan. Basically, administrative authority is strictly centralized under the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. You'll hear it called LARA for short, and specifically, its Bureau of Professional Licensing. They are the overarching entity that rigorously enforces standards to keep public health and patient safety on lock. Whether it's managing licensing transactions, processing those annual renewals, or conducting professional disciplinary investigations, LARA is the absolute definitive source of truth in Michigan.
Moving on to Section 2, Step-by-Step Verification Process, Navigating the Digital Databases. Now that we know exactly who's in charge, let's look at your two primary digital tools for verifying credentials in real time. Depending on how targeted your search is, you've actually got two distinct portals. First up is the broad MyPlus registry. This thing is a massive database tracking 169 different professional categories, and it updates every 24 hours. State license numbers are completely unique, so if you happen to have an exact 10-digit license number on hand, MyPlus is going to find it instantly. On the flip side, we have the dedicated Michigan Board of Pharmacy web lookup. If you need to filter specifically by pharmacy professions, like, say, looking up pharmacy interns, technicians, or pre-licensure candidates, this specialized portal is exactly what you need.
But sometimes doing a quick web search just doesn't cut it. You might need a formal, certified record for an audit, or maybe you're onboarding a new hire. For that certified record, you'll use the MePlus digital workflow. The steps are super straightforward. First, access the MePlus portal and authenticate your account. Second, click on License Application and select Verification. Third, and this is absolutely key, input the target professional's exact license number to avoid any annoying data entry errors. Fourth, configure your delivery address. You can choose email, postal mail, or both. And finally, just process the payment.
So the crucial thing to remember here is that completing this certified request will always require a strict $15 fee per standard verification address. It's payable online using any major credit or debit card. Honestly, it's a small administrative cost, but it's absolutely necessary to get that official, certified documentation directly from the state of Michigan.
Next up is Section 3, Interpreting Results and Pitfalls, Decoding Status Codes and Disciplinary Actions.
Okay, so simply finding a license in the database isn't quite enough. You really need to understand what the official status codes actually mean for a pharmacist's right to practice on the floor. These LARA status codes clearly draw the line between full authorization, restricted probation, and total unauthorized suspensions. An active status means full authorization to perform clinical duties and dispense meds. Probation indicates restricted authorization, meaning the pharmacist can practice, but they have to comply with strict board-mandated monitoring. And suspended is completely black and white. The license is temporarily invalidated and practice is strictly prohibited. You absolutely cannot afford to misinterpret these codes.
Now pay close attention to this next part because it's a massive pitfall for employers. It is so easy to just see the word active and completely gloss over the late renewal tag appended right next to it. If you see active in late renewal, the pharmacist is operating under conditional authorization. Basically, they are in a strict 60-day grace period. If that license isn't handled and renewed within those 60 days, it lapses completely, and they must immediately stop all clinical and dispensing activities.
You also need to look beyond their current status and check for history. Disciplinary actions appear on LARA's Disciplinary Actions grid. And because of the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy Agreements, these disciplinary actions cross state lines. Look at this real-world case study involving pharmacist Thomas E. Barnes. Michigan summarily suspended his license for the diversion of narcotics, and because of those reciprocal agreements we just mentioned, this Michigan suspension served as the legal basis that directly led to the voluntary surrender of his Wisconsin license. So remember, A violation in one state echoes across the entire country. All right, moving on to Section 4, Pharmacy Facilities and Resources, Facility Compliance and Compounding.
Let's shift our focus from individual pharmacists to the overarching credentials required for the pharmacy facilities themselves. After all, a fully licensed pharmacist literally cannot practice legally in an unlicensed or non-compliant facility. Michigan law strictly enforces what is known as the Pharmacist in Charge, or PIC, nexus. This mandates that every single licensed pharmacy facility must designate a PIC who holds an active, unrestricted Michigan pharmacist license. So, if you're verifying a facility, you absolutely must confirm their designated PIC has an active, unencumbered individual license. If the PIC's license lapses or gets suspended, the facility itself falls totally out of compliance.
Furthermore, facility regulations stretch outside of state lines. If an out-of-state pharmacy is shipping compounded products, especially sterile products, into Michigan, they are required to provide recent inspection reports. These reports have to be completed within the last 18 months, and they must demonstrate full compliance with USP compounding standards. And they can't just be audited by anyone either. It has to be an approved entity, like the NAASB Verified Pharmacy Program or the Joint Commission.
Which brings us to Section 5, Avoiding Verification Scams, Protecting Your Data and Identity.
Unfortunately, this whole regulatory landscape is currently being targeted by malicious actors. You have to ask yourself this exact question every single time you receive an unsolicited regulatory email asking for signatures, credential verification, or confidential data. Is this really from Laura? Fraudsters know that professionals desperately want to stay compliant, and they completely weaponize that urgency.
Right now, scammers are actively impersonating Lara officials via email. Specifically, you need to watch out for a fraudulent email circulating with the subject line, Action Required, Lara Enforcement Notice 83700. They'll try to get you to click a link and request your signature or financial information. Please remember, and take this very seriously, Lara is never, ever going to ask for your personal data, your social security number, or your credit card information via email or text message. If you get an unexpected email like this, do not click those links. Instead, report the suspected fraud directly to bplhelp@michigan.gov. And finally, Section 6, Conclusion and Legal Disclaimer. Final takeaways for compliance. Let's lock in the most important concepts you should take away from this explainer today to ensure smooth and compliant operations. By adhering to these primary source verification steps, monitoring status codes carefully, and double-checking facility requirements, you safeguard both patient safety and your operational legality. Always use MyPlus or the Board of Pharmacy Lookup as your primary source. Don't gloss over the status codes. That late renewal pitfall can cost you dearly. Remember that disciplinary actions jump state lines through the NAB-PUC. Always ensure the facility's PIC is actively licensed, and of course, stay super vigilant to protect your data from those insidious phishing scams. Now, just a quick note for our standard legal disclaimer. While this guide provides accurate insights based on the state's documentation, regulatory architectures shift and policies evolve. You should always consult with a legal professional or contact the Michigan Board of Pharmacy directly for advice tailored to your specific clinical circumstances or to verify recent legal updates. So I'll leave you with this question. When was the very last time you ran a comprehensive audit on your pharmacy's credentials? Don't wait for a LARA investigation or a random compliance audit to find a discrepancy. Are your credentials and the credentials of those you employ truly as secure and compliant as you think they are? Use the tools we discussed today and make sure your practice is operating safely and legally. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and happy verifying.